ask for a question, then that's when everyone can decide to, or someone can decide to unmute themselves. But
my segment here is supposed to be basically question and answer. Is what tomorrow and the next day we'll have a session on product and a session on
Just
general session, I guess. But I'm supposed to basically, if there's enough people that want to ask questions, I'm here to try to answer questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll give you my email address and you can write it down and I'll get an answer for you one way or the other. So I always like to say that when I'm at a trade show. I may not know everything. I don't know everything for sure. A lot of things are going on here. In fact, at this stage of my life, I'm happy that a lot of the things that are going on here, I don't need to know about them. They're in good hands. And it lets me enjoy maybe being a little less connected to the daily operations, but focus on doing some things I like to do, which part of would be coming to a show like the Landscape Ontario show. I love coming to a show like that, and I have come so many different years. Of course, we'll be missing this year, but anyway, that's kind of where I've evolved to. I guess most of you, and maybe everybody knows, my nephew Ryan has taken over as president of the company back in October 1st of 2019? I guess it is. So it's been a little over a year ago that he took over as president, and now I'm chairman. I've taken the title of chairman, but titles aren't really important around here. That is, we just do what we like to do and work as hard as we know how to work and enjoy what we're doing. And we'll keep on doing that. That's just good, though, to have the younger next generation person taking their place and knowing that the company will be in good hands, even as my generation, Dean and I, as we get older, the business can still go forward and flourish in the days to come. So there's way too much wonderful work that's been done and investment that has been made by so many different people that we try to keep that at the top of our minds, that we're here to take care of not only of business today, but take care of customers that have invested in our equipment across the years. And we have that kind of view of what we are doing here, that it affects a bigger group of people than just 2 or 3 of us here. Anyway, questions and answers. I'll be happy to, if you, one way or the other, if you can let me know you have a question, I'd be happy to talk.
Sure. We were just talking before we zoomed in. We were wondering how the walker is with the cab on it, like with the heat inside. How's that going over?
Well, it's we continue to sell. We don't sell big numbers of them, but the ones that are in use, we've had some nice reports. The cab is a very well constructed, warm and secure cab, and so it's really a nice fit up for the quality of machine we're trying to build with a high quality cab. Comes together very nicely.
So that would be the one that we saw at the reunion, I guess.
I think that's right. Maybe, I don't know if we had the heater back then, but
you didn't have the heater. I think it was kind of just new at that time.
Yeah, but with this engine that we have, the Briggs Vanguard engine, it has a big alternator system on it that puts out enough charge to run an electric heater now, and so that's a nice touch. And of course, it helps defrost the windows too with a little heat in there.
So the alternator is heavy enough to carry the heater.
It's a 50 amp alternator, so it's got some serious charging capability or electrical power. I forgot the wattage, but it's good.
Yeah.
Is it 500 watts? Okay, that's what Daniel's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. it would fit our application in certain areas, right?
Yeah. Now we've come out with a new cab, fabric cab that's not only fits up on the C and the D and the T, but it also now mounts on the B, the new B series, the B27i.
Right.
So it's a cab that will fit all those models and just with a different mounting system. But especially the B27i, that we think that's a machine that some people are going to be interested in putting a cab on it. And
Right.
so that we've just introduced that this fall,
Sure.
last year.
So the hard
We
cab.
were happy to see the implement hitch on the B. It's nice to be able to run some of the more implements on the B going forward.
That's true too. Yeah, that once you've got the cab on there, but yeah, we also have a hitch now that like kind of evolved from the other hitches that we've had on the other models. That's now fit up on the B. Again, the new B chassis, not the old B chassis, but the B27i
Right.
chassis. Yeah.
Right. That the hard cab, does it come off or is it permanent?
No, it comes off. Yeah, it's
Off.
mounted just with a few
You can
few
take it off.
fasteners, and so it's easily removed for the seasonal,
Oh, okay, okay.
seasonal basis. About that.
I'll send one to you. I got one from the chat. So Eric at Thornhill says, "Hi Bob, Eric from Thornhill Equipment. Is Walker having any supply issues due to COVID-19?"
Okay. The question about supply, we have been affected by some supply chain issues because one in particular that just comes to mind. We have a number of our drive belts. They're U.S. companies, but they have their manufacturing plants in Mexico, and we very nearly ran out of one of the big wide power band belts that we use on the C, actually the C, D, and T. I think all three of them use this wide power band belt, and the place that those were being made in was in Mexico. Well, that got shut down with COVID, and when they started back up, somehow some of their raw materials got spoiled, and they tried to manufacture belts, but they couldn't do that and they had to get another supply of raw material. Anyway, we kept going, but it was close, and we also right now are working to accelerate our production because we have a lot of orders that have come in starting again last June, and then it's continued that pattern. And so we're trying to increase our production rate right now. And one of the concerns we have is just getting some of our suppliers to be able to speed up their production of the items that we need from them. So that is a concern. Another question?
Hey, Bob, let me introduce you to Scott Faulkner. He's on the call here. Scott's a guy that we actually went up and did a beautiful cut. Actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't a beautiful cut. It was of one of the leaf cleanup videos last year. Was that right, Scott?
I think it was last year, yeah.
And so Daniel and I went up and visited Scott, and he's north of Toronto a little ways and in a beautiful area. But he's kind of a one-man band, really, but he gets a lot of work done, and a good Walker customer. I just wanted to introduce you. You probably met him before, Scott, but I just wanted to make sure Bob knew who you were. And
I don't know I don't know if I've met you, Scott, but
I actually haven't met you. I've seen you at the shows, but I've been too shy to come up and to meet you. So
you just need to come up and next time we get at a show, just come up and introduce yourself.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm not very good at introducing myself to people. I'm kind of sit back, and I'm really shy in big groups. So but I've seen you. I think I saw the GIE and then that Landscape Ontario show the one year, but I never came up and actually talked to you.
Yeah, I
usually go up and harass Tim. So
that's too easy.
We're just regular working people, and we very incidentally, we're thrilled. It's thrilling to us sometimes how many one-man or small companies use our equipment. That's really exciting to us. I mean, some people would say, well, I want to talk about the big guys, the big customers. we would have starved to death a long time ago if it were not for smaller operators who many of them working by themselves or maybe with themselves and one other helper have built some nice opportunities for themselves, and they're making a good living.
Well, for
And we've
sure.
also heard the story from some who started out small, they got big, and then they decided, wait a minute, I'm handling a lot more money, but I'm not putting any more in my pocket. And they actually end up going through and downsizing and going back to where they were earlier and find themselves to be much happier and even more prosperous because, again, once you begin to add on crews and people and overhead, that all has to go together, and sometimes again that can outrun the the capabilities of the founder. So we always try to say, of course, we love having JD uses quite a bit of our equipment. He's a a good size operator. We're thrilled to have him represent maybe what I would say a larger contractor, but again, we know that our opportunity is largely come on the shoulders of smaller businesses that one or two people businesses. So
Yeah, it's just me, and I've got 2 employees. So I've got 2 walkers right now. So I'm hoping, I was thinking about upgrading this year, but I'm not sure if I really need to, if I want to put the money out on it. But I really want to upgrade if I can in the future, because I absolutely love the walkers and they work really well for us. So
thank you. That's good to hear.
We'll have the demo, Scott. We'll talk after if you want to set something up for springtime. We can
sure, sounds
bring
good.
some equipment out and see what's going to work for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Actually, Bob, just while I'm on too, so Scott, my father, and me, like our family business was always varied in size, but either from a 4 or 5 people down to eventually it was just me by myself. But all the things you were saying was exactly what I found. I always found that I couldn't get the amount of work done in a day or in a week with anything else, and it afforded me to not have to go bigger in my situation. It was great, and I had customers that if I got to a point where I couldn't handle any more customers and I maybe had to try and let a job go or give it to someone else, people would beg us to stay and beg me to stay because the cut quality just can't be matched, and it's something that can really only be attested to the machine.
It's nice to be in a position where you can actually choose the kind of customers that you want instead of some people, when you're getting started, you almost basically have to take any customer you can find. But once you've got yourself established as a high quality company and producing high quality work, then you begin to have some choices, and those that's nice to be able, because some customers, you can hardly do enough for them, and they don't really want to pay you anything. So those kind of guys need to go maybe see somebody else, and
No, and when you can enjoy your customers and are happy to work for them, then it's not a drag to get out of bed in the morning. You're happy to
that's right.
and get on the yards that
Yeah.
that you like being. Yeah, it makes life better that way.
I always tell people as you're building your business, before you start out, a lot of people start by themselves, and before you hire that next person to help you, think about your equipment and make sure you're using the highest productive equipment you can by yourself. And quite often the walker has fit into that picture where somebody could produce enough work by themselves to have a nice livelihood without hiring a whole group of people to help them, and with maybe using some less productive equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you save a lot of trimming. So you might be one guy on the truck that's just running a trimmer, but with the walker, you can get into all the nooks and crannies and save yourself
Right.
walking energy. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's very good. Yeah. I remember talking to a fellow at the show in Toronto a few years ago, and he was sort of complaining. He said, I'm just having trouble competing with some of these bigger guys using bigger equipment. And I began to talk to him about the idea that maybe his issue was more, he had just simply chosen, he was trying to mow big commercial properties. And I suggested to him, if you would look for and try to find people who have a high quality, they expect high quality work, and their property is such that that's what they want. They want those kind of results. If you could shift your focus away from just the chop and drop, high production type mowing, that's what he was trying to do, but he kind of gotten himself in the wrong place. At least again with the Walker, and back in those days, I don't think we had the H series, but as far as a bigger, higher speed cutter. But anyway, sometimes that's making sure your best opportunities are found by looking where you can do your best with the equipment that you have. And so that was my message to that young fellow quite a few years ago now.
Here, I got a comment and a question for you, Bob, here. So it says, this is from Ryan Boyd. So Ryan's an operator in the Ottawa area. And he says, morning, Bob, very happy with Pro Power up here representing Walker. Owen has been very helpful with me being a solo operator going on 2 years and about to purchase my third Walker mower.
Wow, very good. Is that
Ryan's been very helpful for us too. We signed a new dealer this year, and that was closer to Ryan's home, and they've established a good relationship, and we've been I'm always happy to go into that area now to get to spend time with our new dealer, the MR Blay. They're really good, and Ryan is always nice to meet up with because he's got his truck lettered up, and he's got a nice fleet of walkers, and he's really doing the kind of the ground floor within his community of mowers. He's doing a lot of good word of mouth advertising and putting nice properties in the area.
Is that did you say Ottawa? Is that where he's from?
Yes,
Ottawa. And that's an area that I don't know. It seems to me like maybe that's an area that we haven't had as much walkers introduced, or is that true or not true?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And this year was I think this year was almost a changing year. We saw a lot of growth. We did a lot of demos this year I think a spark has been lit in that area, and that's my territory. That's kind of where I'm focusing a lot of my efforts to.
Well, that's we know from experience that not too much happens in an area until somebody starts, a contractor or a customer begins to use the Walker, and that helps then begin to build some interest. I mean, we can advertise nationally and maybe even locally. You can do some advertising or try to promote, but it really, again, a lot of things. It seems like not too much happens until somebody, and a lot of times there are contractors will watch certain other contractors, see what they're using and what they're doing, and try to imitate. And so again, if you can get somebody in an area like this, it can begin to, as you say, kind of light some fires toward the product. So thank you for that.
I'll just hop in quickly here. I just see a chat, just if no one's watching the chat. If you're off camera and it works out to be on camera, feel free. It's kind of nice to see each other's faces, and we can't do our in-person meeting, but if it works out to be on camera, but also if you're not in a position to do that, no pressure, but just throwing that out there for everyone.
Sure.
Yeah, back to you. I'll be quiet now.
Is Ryan, you mentioned his name is Ryan, the gentleman from Ottawa. Is he on the picture now? Could he raise his hand so I could see? I don't see.
He doesn't have his camera on, Bob.
Okay.
It's just,
Okay.
right. Hey, Ryan, are you able to unmute yourself? It should be at the bottom of your screen. I'm not sure what you're on. If you're on a tablet or a laptop, it'll either be at the very top or bottom in the one corner, mute or unmute.
Okay. Does he have a beard?
This is his camera.
That's Ryan from Pro Power. That's who you're seeing there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That Ryan. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. There is a way to unmute yourself if you're on a phone, and it's like *9 or *7 or something, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, do we have another question or subject you'd like to talk about?
Here, we got Ryan there. Yeah, Ryan, if you have anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
No, I just like, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you
no,
too.
Perfect. I got this on as well.
Yeah, okay. I can see you.
No, like I said, I just wanted to thank Owen for for helping me out. I mean, he's pretty much on my contact list if I need any help at all, really. He's been great, helped me with the machines and saying which way I should go ahead with what machine. And I mean, that's what's pretty much put me in the direction where I am in my business. If it wasn't for the quality of cut and the reliability on the equipment, I mean, I've been in the industry myself for 25 years and I used varied amounts of equipment from Gravely to Toro, but once I got on that walker, it was a game changer for me. So I had a Gravely first and then a walker, and the clients told me that they didn't want me using that Gravely because it was too heavy and I was leaving ruts in the grass.
Yes.
So, I totally changed out my fleet, and that's all I run right now is walker.
Very good.
So like I said, Owen Pro Power, they've been great up here. And there's not too many of us in Ottawa that are running walkers, but every time that I get out there, I try to push as much as I can and let people know that, they do have that customer service, second to none. So it's really nice to be a part of the Walker family for sure, because that's kind of what I feel when I'm out there running it. So
right.
Thanks to you for being a huge support up here as well, and trying to push it up here. That's greatly appreciated.
Well, it's been a great market for us for a long time, and it's just interesting how different areas. It's of course it's a big country you've got there. U.S. is a big country. Canada is a big country. Lots of places, lots of territory to try to develop into. But we've have worked for a long time, and we're going to keep on working, trying to build our program into some of these areas. Maybe we haven't been as well known as we should be, but again, we very much appreciate people that sort of, I guess I'll call it, pioneer the equipment into an area, begin to use it, and then other people watch, and pretty soon you've got several people. We've had some contractors that kind of wanted to say, well, look, I've got the equipment, I know what it'll do, and I just assume my competitors didn't learn about it. That way I don't,
yeah, that's right.
I really don't want to have to compete with them, but that's sort of I don't know. It's a big country. It's a big market. There's a lot of work out there for a lot of different people. No one person should be trying to take care of everybody. So in a way, competitors, in fact, that's something that I've seen across the years that I enjoy a lot. And that is when I've attended some of these, I'll call them dealer open houses or other industry events, you'll find sometimes that Walker people, that is contractors that are using Walker, there's a bit of camaraderie there where they enjoy, even if they compete with each other in the market or in the business, they still have the machine sort of brings them together. It's almost like a fan club or a club. And so I've enjoyed watching sometimes these folks come, like at a dealer open house. They've been invited to come for lunch, and then maybe have a display of equipment, and sometimes they'll have a special sale or something like that going on. But again, as the people come, you watch them talking to each other and swapping stories, and it's just a lot of fun.
No, for sure. Yeah. And I said, that's what's kept me going and kept me in the business. And for the spring and for the fall cleanups, to do it any other way without using the bagger system, that's a game changer, really. So that's what's really impressed my clients, using that. And they pretty much, they're just set back in amazement, really, how fast I can get the cleanup done with that mower.
Do you have quite a bit, like your leaf season, the leaves don't all come down at one?
Not all at once. No, it's a good month and a half, almost. Wow. We're anywhere from August late August, going right into November.
Yes.
So it's busy. So
Some people have said to us that the on the GHS machine, that's the most valuable time of the year for them is the leaf pickup season, is bigger and a bigger part of what they do, even compared to the mowing of
oh
the,
no, exactly, and that's where you're making most of your money too, is
Yeah.
is in the fall season. So
Yeah.
To have that option of going from a mulch deck to a collection deck, and they're interchangeable. There's no other mower that's out there that can do that.
Yeah.
So for me, the investment to put it out there and say, you know what, this is what's going to get me to the next level. That's what I've gone and done. So
very good.
Yeah.
So Daniel, you came up and you took some video or
So Tim and I visited Scott Faulkner and we did a feature on mulching, the way the walker handles mulching of leaves. And
yes.
Scott's one of these people who does an interesting combination of mulching and then bags it up at the
Yeah.
end. So he'll chop it down and
Chop the volume down. Yeah.
Because he's almost always cleaning up leaves in the wet when it's really, really wet.
Oh.
So that airflow of the mulching action really helps him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've tried many different ways to do leaves, and it depends on the season too. Like this year, it was a wet season again, so we weren't able to mulch in the bed because it just like makes a big mess of the leaves. But I'm constantly changing my ways to make sure that I can get the leaves done as quickly as possible. So I found like if the leaves are dry, I go over and mulch them first, and then I go suck them up after. And like if you have to haul them away, there's like no leaves at all to haul away. Like the one place I had, it had like 2 trailer fulls plus 2 truckloads. And then the next year I did it, it was half a trailer load to haul the leaves away. So it makes a big difference when you're
Yeah.
trying to get the leaves done, get them away. So yeah.
That's just nice. You've got some options and you're able to pick and choose what works best on a particular season. That's sounds
yeah,
very
yeah, I'm always changing things up. And if like I said, if it's a wet season, then I have to change it up. And if it's dry season, I'll change it up again to make it work, and whatever does it the quickest and easiest for us, that's what we'll do.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Hey, Bob. So Scott Morrison has something to say, and then Joe Dawson after that. So we'll do.
Okay.
I just wanted to say for any that are tied in here, I mean, I've been out of it a few years now, but we had a huge leaf collection business where our territory was in the Orangeville area, so we were Huckley Valley, Credit Valley, Forks of the Credit, all through the Niagara Escarpment area, and we ran deep in leaves. And at the time, we had a Super Bee that we used in dry conditions to pre-chop. But I got to tell you, if you have not used one of the DM decks, DM 42, 48, 52, they're a tremendous pre-chopper in the right conditions to reduce trash. Now, I know we actually got to do a few dry leaves this fall, but it hasn't been the case. It seems over the last 2-3 years previous, it's been super, super wet.
I see.
Maybe not a good idea if you're like to pick, if it's really wet, it's probably best to pick up with your DC deck first, in my opinion, especially if you're loading your truck with a debris loader or something when you're blowing it on, because once it's gone through the walker and then through the fan on a debris loader, it's pretty much like porridge coming out the end of the but the DM deck is a fantastic pre-chop machine and does a great job on all the early season leaves, just makes them disappear.
Very good. Thanks for that comment. Yeah.
Bob, we're wondering what type of feedback you have on the 52-inch deck versus the 48. To give you an idea, we do a lot of leaf cleanup as well in the fall.
Yes.
And we find that the 52-inch deck just doesn't have the vacuum. Now, obviously, it's because of, I'll let Roy touch on base with you about this, because of the way the blades turn it out, obviously. Would I be right, Roy?
Yeah, I think so. The the right-hand blades, they don't pick up near as well as the.
We've had some feedback on the reverse rotation decks, and there's no doubt there's kind of some trade-offs that happen with the reverse. At first, when we first started developing the reverse rotation, it was our hope that we'd be able to replace all the standard decks with the reverse rotation, because there's some nice cutting quality things that happen with that center area when you reverse rotate. You cut the grass there first, and that overlap area, and you get a nice clean cut. And surprisingly, it's generally quite clog resistant, which it doesn't look like it would be, but it has been just in practice. The only caveat to that is if you've got a lot of little sticks or little debris, that can, on reverse rotation, the grass, those items have to turn the corner and go up the chute into the blower. And sometimes they don't quite make the corner and they bridge and clog. So that can happen if you're getting, again, an area where you've got a lot of little twigs or little debris things. Anyway, we thought we could go away from the old standard rotation deck and just go to reverse rotation, and actually everybody would be happy. But that's clearly not the case. We've continued to produce the standard rotation 48, 42, 48. We never have we've tried hard across the years to build a 52-inch standard rotation deck. There's been a lot of work gone in to try to make that work, and it just never has worked well enough to put it on the market. So it was only when we came up and tried the reverse rotation deck that we had a reasonably good solution to. And some of it is just the size of the blower and the capacity of the GHS blower. As you put a bigger and bigger deck on there, the amount of material and airflow that you want to go through the machine is a fixed, with the 10.5 inch blower, it's just a fixed size. And we really probably, if we could fit it into the machine, it'd be nice to have an 11 or 12 inch blower. And probably in that case, we could make a 52 inch rear discharge standard rotation deck work. But anyway, all of our trial and work with that is never produced, as I already said, has never produced something that was good enough to put it on the market. The 52 reverse, though, is, yes, if you're picking up leaves, it doesn't have the vacuum action along the sides of the deck that the standard rotation does. And so quite often people say, well, I'm going along sidewalks or curbing, and I'm used to the leaves being pulled into the deck from the side. And I'm not seeing that with a 52 inch. And that would be correct. That's what we've heard and seen ourselves from. It varies a lot, depending, again, cutting height is one of the issues there. What kind of height are you trying to cut at? And I don't know if I've answered anything, Joe.
I think you have. It was just we wondered. We've had the 52 inch decks 3 years now. Mm-hmm. We actually set them aside in the fall, and we go back to the 48 inch deck. We feel that it's just another 40% more vacuum you're getting, right?
Yeah, I think that makes, you hate to have to tell people, well, you really need to switch out your deck, but in this particular case, it seems like you're doing the right, you obviously want to go for your best performance,
for sure.
And particularly on the leaf pickup time of the year. That's, again, as we were saying earlier, that's a big part of what you're trying to do.
We were just curious of how you were coming with that, or
we're not really. We've worked on the 52. It's had a couple different changes made on it across that is the baffle configuration. It's not exactly what we've evolved it some from what we first introduced quite a number of years ago now. But overall, Dean is the kind of guy that he pulls out older design decks or decks that we've built, and he still keeps doing tests, and he's got that discipline to just keep working. So I can't say that he's recently worked on the 52. I don't think he did anything with it last summer when we could, do testing here, but or maybe a couple years now. But I sure wouldn't say to you we're never going to do anything else with the 52-inch deck.
Right.
We very well could, as we see a possibility, work on that deck and try to come up with some more better performance.
Sure, perfect. Yeah, how's the belt-driven deck doing?
Yeah, those are interesting to us. We've learned a lot with the introduction of the Model R on a belt drive deck. And we've been very impressed. Of course, that's for residential use. So it's not been set up to be a commercial mower, but as a side discharge mower, we've been very impressed with the cutting quality and the discharge capability of the side of the deck that we developed for the R. So we're right now building or beginning to tool up a deck, a 48-inch side discharge deck, which would fit on all the other standard walkers, the D, the D and the T and the C, and also on the B series. And it'll have instead of having a big single drive belt, it'll be driven by a drive shaft setup, just like we have on all the other decks. But the drive up on the deck itself and the deck platform, will imitate what we've got on the R model, and we've been very pleased with. It also can be adjusted to a mulcher with some baffle change, and also we do have a side bagger. It's a 3.5 bushel, something like that, accelerator side discharge catch collector. So you can, particularly maybe in a homeowner situation or a small property situation, you can actually use that catcher on the. So it becomes a multi-purpose deck, but particularly the side discharge, and of course the belt drive is really really nice. It's nice and quiet.
Yeah, quiet. I'm sure it is quiet.
It engages nicely and disengages nicely. So it's We also have another new deck, which I guess I'm stealing maybe what they'll talk about tomorrow a little bit, but we also are developing a 54-inch side discharge for the R model. So if you got people that are particularly residential customers that have a little bigger property, they're going to have the opportunity to put that's the 3-blade design, a belt drive 3-blade design, 54 side. And that's also going to be a nice addition to our deck lineup.
Right. Okay. No, that helps us out anyway, somewhere.
I didn't.
He said that helps them out.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Owen got a couple things queued up here.
Okay.
Bob, how was the first year of the Model R? How did it go for you guys?
We've had as we've introduced new models across the years, we've had quite a nice smooth introduction. There have been definitely machines we put out on the market that didn't introduce nicely, and we had some things even with testing that showed up as we got quantities of machines out in the field. But the R model has been pretty clean. We've actually introduced it first in the down under market, the Australia, New Zealand market. Was the first big quantities of those that were sent out. I guess that would be not the previous season. So before we began to really deliver into North America last year, we had quite a bit of exposure down under, and again it was going. We've had there have been a few little things that have shown up, but overall it's been pretty clean introduction.
Yeah, we had kind of dipped our toes in last year. We weren't able to get our hands on too many of them, but the ones that came in all went out pretty quickly. And yeah, like I know with my bit of time running it, I was really impressed. Like the first time I saw it was down at sales training the year before.
Right.
And I kind of had my eye on I wanted to try a few different machines and a few different configurations. And I sat on the R and I spent my whole tested time, just because I was trying to figure out where it was going to show its weakness, being a residential machine. But I put it on hills. It was great on the hill. I went to one fresh patch of lawn and just cut it like it was one of my jobs. Put nice stripes in it, and it contours nice. It handles nice. Like you said, it's nice and quiet. So I'm curious. I'm happy to and looking forward to trying to sell more of them in our area. But yeah, just kind of we had sort of limited experience with this year, so I'm glad to hear that from
Sure.
company wide.
I will say it's an obvious question. What happens if a commercial customer decides to try one of the Model Rs? And of course, we have no way of saying that they shouldn't or couldn't do that. And we have had a few, particularly that we've become aware of, that have. I talked to one fellow in Florida, and one thing that limits is that we have a very limited warranty period for the transaxle, and also a limited. I kind of forgot what our warranty is.
Right, it's 3 years, but it's
3 years and 500 hours?
yeah.
Yeah. So clearly we've scoped the warranty for residential users who don't maybe put on 40 or 50 hours a year. But if a commercial customer buys it, like the guy in Florida said, well, look, the most expensive component on this would be the transaxle. And he said, for the cost of putting a new transaxle, I'm just going to run this. And if I have to replace a transaxle, that'll just be part of my cost of operation. And so it'll be interesting to us to see again, it's really not been our idea that commercial customers would use this machine, but apparently there are some people that they're attracted to the size and the performance of the machine, and they're gonna try it out and see what happens.
Good to hear. Actually, one question I had thought of before. I heard you have a book coming out, Bob. So
yes, I do. I've across the years, I've told lots of people across the years the story of our company, and there is a story that goes with it. My parents literally went from farming in Kansas to manufacturing. When I was in the 6th grade was when my dad started, and of course that made my brother in the 1st grade. So Dean and I literally grew up in the manufacturing business, and but after telling my story across the years, some people would tell me, well, you ought to write a book. So with my role in the company changing here and not maybe having so much day-to-day need to be here on a daily basis, I've taken up and done what and I've written this book. It's just being finished. In fact, I hope by the end of this week, we'll have it ready to send to the publisher. We've done all the proofreading, and it's not a huge book. It looks like it'll be maybe 150 pages in a not a big sized book, but a medium sized book, I guess I'll call it. And it'll have about 20 pages of photographs included in it. So there'll be a lot of, anyway, yeah, it's going to be available hopefully this spring sometime. It'll be available, and we'll be offering it for sale through Walker Ware is our idea right now, if you want to order one. And also Amazon, I think this publisher we're working with will actually have it available for sale on Amazon for people that want to just like to order their books that way. But, and maybe some other outlets as well. But it's been fun telling our story, trying to maybe some of the things we learned, trying to put those down, write them down, because maybe it'll be a help to somebody else that's trying to start a business. There's, for example, lots of landscape contractors have started their businesses from scratch, and they've learned a lot of the hard lessons that you do when you start a business up without any real, you just go to work, and those lessons then can be passed on maybe to help somebody avoid some of the mistakes that my parents made and some of the mistakes that Dean and I made. Of course, you're always going to make mistakes anyway, no matter what you do. But anyway, our story has some of those. There's quite often too, there's some failure. Our business went bankrupt in 1970 under some new financial work or arrangements my dad had made. We went flat broke. Dad and mom lost everything at that point and had to start all over again. And when we made the transition then from some other product, we were making tractor cab coolers for 11 years for another company under contract. But when that came to an end, we went full time in the lawnmower business in 1984. And we nearly went broke again. It was so close. Only with the Lord's help, we made it, but it was a long ways from a sure thing when we switched into the lawnmower business. And one of the interesting things I like to I talk about it in the book is from the time we built our first prototype lawnmower in 1977, it was 10 years, 1987, before we broke even and began to make a little bit of money in the company. It took 10 years, which fortunately we had this other contract business for all those years to help, or for up until 83, we had the contract business that was paying the bills and helping us launch the lawnmower. But when we went full time again, lawnmower business, it was another 3 years before we actually started making any money. So some people, you'll wonder, well, why would it take so long? Well, when you start from scratch, it takes a long time to get your brand name built up, to get, I can't hardly believe those first few customers that bought Walker mowers. They took a tremendous risk to buy a machine that nobody had really heard of, and to work with a company, a little company here in Colorado. But sure enough, we had people begin to buy the machines, and there's another whole story about that how we built up our marketing. It took about 8 years to build up the marketing around the world. So it was quite another process that took quite a bit of time.
Yeah, well, that's neat to hear. Yeah, and then I think if any of those stories and kind of get to hear the beginnings of the company and all that, I think we'll all be pretty interested to see that, because everyone's in different positions in their company or in their job. But it's the Walker company is very unique, I think, to a lot of operations. So it'd be very interesting to read. Okay, so I got a message. So we are gonna wrap this up around noon. So in our time, so it's 8 minutes till the end. So if anybody has any final questions, got about 8 minutes. And and if you have any concluding statements or anything you want, Bob, that's sort of our time frame now.
Sure.
Actually, I got a quick question. I was actually just trying to think of a video from a YouTube channel, and I was thinking about building a brand and what is your key takeaway for building such a successful brand as Walker?
Well, we've always tried to be straight shooters and truth tellers. And the credibility, it's a slower process. Some of your people can, accelerate the process if you throw enough money at it and get a big marketing program revved up. You can build a brand maybe quite a bit faster. We didn't, even if we wanted to, we didn't have the money or the wherewithal to accelerate the process. But I would say in a slower way, you get one customer. They buy the equipment, they put it to work, and it works for them. And they're happy. That means you can have another customer. That's 2 customers. And pretty soon it begins to build and build and build over time. You end up with, you've got a brand and a name. And I think that's just the way it has to be. And at least for a lot of businesses, they just have to start out very slowly and build their brand, but it's based on truth. Some companies try to employ. In fact, that's happening now with social media, where they're getting these influencer type people to actually they're being paid by some of the manufacturers. We found out, have heard about it, and have been approached ourselves by some of these folks that say, I've got a website. I've got people following my blogs on products, and if you will pay me or compensate me, I'll start talking about Walker for you. And we've avoided each and every one of those kind of approaches, because to us, whenever you start paying somebody to endorse a product or speak of it favorably, people can tell if there's any real substance to what these people are, or their experience. And so we've deliberately said, no, we want real people like yourselves. When you speak and have something to say about the product, it counts and it builds, because it's based on truth. And of course, truth is not always positive. Sometimes there's the truth that you have to face, that you need to solve a problem or make something work better. And but for us, that's just part of the whole picture of trying to be in the business, is to take the good and the bad and create opportunities from both. So it's been exciting to see, and it's not just us. We've watched people like yourselves that have started businesses, and we love your stories, because it's the same thing. You start out with nothing. Nobody who's ever heard of JD's Lawn Service there in Sarnia, who's ever heard of, but you went to work and began to get one customer and then two customers and build from there. And there's a lot of good energy that comes from sharing some of those stories sometimes with people to help encourage people that are wanting to find an opportunity for themselves. I don't know if I probably again rambled past that one a little bit, but anyway, brand building is a very interesting subject to talk about, and how you do it, and yeah.
Thanks.
We're excited about the technology available in manufacturing continues to evolve. And we're just, our big project that we're headed into for this year is to change our laser cutting system. For those of you who have visited our factory, we have 3 laser cutters that take sheets of sheet metal and use programming or CAD drawing files to cut out parts. A lot more. In fact, a machine like the Model R, the newer design, almost all the parts on that machine are cut out out of sheet metal on a laser cutter. And our laser cutters are optic systems. They use mirrors and light beam to create the laser to do the cutting. There's a newer type laser that's a fiber optic laser. And we're moving into that. We'll be moving this year into that new technology. As I mentioned, we've had 3 machines on an automatic material handling system that will load and unload the sheets after they've been cut. And it's worked. It's fine. But this newer technology, we can buy one machine. And just again, it's a power. Our 3 lasers are 4,000 watt lasers is the power that they consume. We can buy one of these new fiber optic lasers that's 10,000 watts, and it moves across the sheet lightning fast. You can hardly see the light beam how fast it moves, to the point that one of these new machines can do the work of 4 of the older style machines. So we can't afford not to get to this new technology, because it's going to pay for itself. And so we're just talking to the company we're going to be working with on making the change. Part of the change will happen during our plant vacation in July and August, which we do our annual plant vacation, and that'll be the cutover point But before that, we're going to have a machine that we're going to bring in on a rental basis and start using this new technology, and then get our permanent placement of machines in at plant vacation time. So we're moving ahead. With technology, we have been the kind of, we haven't necessarily said we've got our hand up in the air for the latest technology when it's first being introduced, but this fiber optic has been around now for several years, and our competitors are using it. We're going to be using it too, because we got to stay competitive. And so I just thought I'd share that with you. It's never ending investment in to be in the manufacturing business. You just simply can't afford to ignore what's being developed and some of the exciting new things that are coming along. We'll have more robotics. We already have this new laser machine actually has more robotics to it, so that the materials, the pieces are actually that are cut are actually unloaded by a robot, and instead of manually as we're doing it now.
That's really interesting to hear. That's yeah, exciting to hear new advancements and new carrying on in the same direction. But yeah, just sort of the things that will move it forward. So we are at the end of our time. So again, if you have anything more you want to say, Bob, you're welcome to. But I'm really thankful for everyone that popped in here today and had some input. It's yeah, we can't see each other in person, and we're always really are happy to see who comes up from Walker, especially when it's you. It's always a treat to get a handshake and quick visit. So thank you for giving us all the time.
I'll look forward to the next time that we can be face to face with you all at the show or on another occasion. I love meeting you face to face, and this has worked, and I'm thankful for this chat we've been able to have. But we'll look forward to the time when we're face to face. I wish you all of you that are working in the business with the mower, I wish you a great season of business, and that your businesses continue to flourish in this coming year. So that'd be my closing statement. And we just love working with you. Love you, and appreciate that you are using our equipment. Thank you for that. We wouldn't have our factory if it weren't for you all buying the equipment and putting it to work. That's another truth.
Thanks for your time, Bob.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Joe. Ryan.